Absolutely.
which is one of the weirdest places because they've branched off from Africa, 60,000 years ago or something like that.
Right.
When you're around these people, like what do they do if they get injured?
So funny you asked that because we kind of had that same question, right? And they don't leave. They stay in the village. They have a shaman at the village who blessed us with a crazy green powder, and that's a whole nother story. But they have a shaman, and he is their doctor. However, he has no access to any Western medicine. So it's only his learned knowledge handed down through generations plus jungle powders and whatnot. And that's it. So we spent a day, because we had a medic with us, doing like kind of village help, if you will. Everybody had ringworm. Everybody had respiratory infections. There were a lot of lady problems in the village that our medic had to deal with. I mean, there was a lot of health issues, and you don't even realize it.
I'm going to write something down before I forget. I'm sorry, it's totally unrelated. But
no, all good.
There's a doctor named Peter Hotez that's coming on the podcast, and I have to follow up on him. When you start talking about the people in the jungle, he's an actual doctor who is he specializes in infectious diseases in jungle and tropical climates, and he's like, everyone's infected with something.
Everyone.
He'd
100%. Have a heyday down there.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's probably been.
Yeah.
But so when these people have ringworm and all these different infections, do they treat it? Do they have like some naturopathic cure or some shit?
I think it's kind of a 50-50. Like a lot of it they don't treat because it's just part of everyday life. Like when I say everybody had ringworm, I meant everybody had it. So I don't think there was any kind of treatment or cure. It was just kind of part of them. Huh. But other things, the witch doctor or the shaman was trying to treat. And then we kind of went in and we had like medication for ringworm. So we dewormed everybody and with the shaman's blessing. And he was like super excited to have Western medicine in the village. And
would you use like Lamisil or something like that?
I couldn't tell you. I think it wasn't topical. I think it was like a Vermox, like a pill that you take that kills the worms.
The weird thing about that is like, don't you leave and then they're going to get it again, right?
I mean, there's only so much you can do, right? Yeah, totally. That we were having the same dilemma, and it was like, do we interfere because we're from the outside world? Do we help? And we talked to the shaman through our translator, and he said, please help, please help. So we gave, including him, everybody this dewormer, but, they'll just come back.
Yeah, and also they probably don't understand the consequences of taking some antibiotic that's going to do some weird shit to your whole biome, right?
Right. And
Kills
these are all the
good stuff, too.
It's such a moral dilemma. You're there, and you're like, I want to help. Do I? Is it helpful? Is it hindering? Yeah. Our medic was like, it's undeniably going to help. They need this. And so we went for it. And it was, it seemed to help. Everybody felt fine, but we were only there a couple more days before we left. So who knows?
Wow. Now, when you're talking about ringworm, like, are these guys covered in it? They have big patches of it? Like, what's it like?
Feet and legs had big patches of it. Yeah.
And if you don't know, that's the same shit that's athlete's foot.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, ringworm and athlete's foot are the same kind of funk.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's why people tell you to pee on your feet.
Oh, I thought that was just for fun.
It could be for fun. Depends on what you're into. But I think that's the idea behind it is that you're somehow or another you're killing the bad bacteria when you piss on your feet and you have athlete's foot. That might be horseshit. Maybe, yeah. With me, you always have to check. Definitely give that a little look-see. But it's a real common thing with jiu-jitsu.
Gotcha. So guys, just all the mats.
Yeah, it's real common. So just guys get it, and there's people really fuck up where they like put bleach on it and a bunch of different things to try to kill it, and it winds up getting worse, and also fucks up all the natural skin flora. Jock itch, athlete's foot, and ringworm are all types of fungal skin infections known collectively as tinea. They're caused by fungi called dermatrophytes that live on the skin, hair, and nails and thrive in warm, moist areas, the jungle. Gross. So it seems like they're just going to get it.
That's just what it sounds like. But
what
still
do they
trying
do
to help.
for it? What do they do for it?
I didn't see them treating that at all. And when we pointed it out, they were like, yeah, we know about it. They were more concerned with things that were like dire. Like there was an infant, maybe 3 years old, and he was hacking up a lung. And he was asthmatic, according to our medic. So our medic gave them like an asthma medication, and he just said, if he has an attack where he can't breathe, give him this. And to be super real with you, when we walked away, our medic was like, I doubt he'll live to see adulthood.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And were you giving him inhalers? Did you give him...
I'm not sure, to be honest, what it was that he left with him.
And what about like injuries? What if they break a leg or something like that? What do they do?
I don't think anything. Yeah.
Was any? I mean, you got to think these people are climbing trees. They must
Constantly. Fall, get bitten by stuff. There's tons of venomous snakes out there. It's wet, it's muddy, it's slippery. They're building stuff out of very rudimentary tools. I mean, it's nuts. They have to get injured.
It's so interesting that we have this understanding of medicine and doctors and hospitals, but that's probably pretty fucking recent.
Oh, of course, yeah. I'll tell you a story, Joe. I was in Myanmar late last year, and we're down there filming this thing, and this kid, like 22-year-old crab fisherman, gets bitten by a crocodile.
Oh.
Croc grabs him by the arm, grabs him by the thigh, and death rolls. So it breaks the arm in 15 places, compound fracture, the real deal. I can show you pictures of it. It'll blow your mind. And we hear about this, and we're minutes away. It's kind of one of the similar situations where we're the first Westerners to be there in a long time. We go bombing over at high speed, and we get there, and the mom is off mourning the death of her child, but her child is sitting there still alive. They have written him off. And mom is literally mourning the death of her child, and he's lying there conscious, but in total shock. Fortunately, just because of the situation, we had a speedboat, everything else. We bandaged him up, tried to keep his arm stable and his leg stable, put him in our speedboat, and it was 6 hours by speedboat to a village that to a hospital, really. And so he got there, and his life was saved. But we asked the people in the village, what were you going to do? And they're like, there's nothing we can do.
Wow.
So he was just going to bleed out or go septic, and that was the end of it.
Ooh, what a fucking rough way to go.
Right.
Ooh. How did he get away from the crocodile?
I don't know. I think he was just hitting it or hammering on it. He was crab fishing in the water, and it came up and grabbed him, rolled a few times, and at some point he escaped. How he even got back in the boat and made it back to the village, I have no idea, because his leg was shattered, his arm was shattered. It was brutal. And it was a canoe, it wasn't like he had a little motor or a wheel to drive. He canoed back.
One of the most disturbing stories I ever read was these guys were kayaking in an African river, and the guy in front of them got grabbed by a crocodile, and that it went under, and it plunged like a bobber as the crocodile pulled him out of the bottom of the kayak.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck.
That's awful.
Imagine being the guy behind him and watching that shit.
Just watching, yeah, and knowing that you're pretty much helpless.
Yeah.